Today is Transfer Thursday, a day here at SailGP where we discuss and break down all things transfers across the league. With Falls Up 2026 season start just a month away, things are really heating up, movements across the league are happening, and it's making headlines around the world. I'm here with Stevie Morrison today to talk about what's gone down so far, the impacts it will have on the league. Stevie, how you doing?
Yeah, well, really good. I mean, it's exciting, isn't it? I thought we'd finished and we were now on holiday, but no, it's all kicked off with people moving places and really exciting. I mean, it's as if we needed any more drama. It's now happening off the boat as well.
It is, and we will be having some of the people causing the drama in to chat with us throughout this session. But let's just start by reviewing some of the headlines. Number one, Emirates Great Britain 2025 champion Ian Jensen, wing trimmer for Emirates Great Britain, departs to join the Bonds-Flying Roos. 2, Chris Draper will leave the Bonds-Flying Roos to join Artemis. And then thirdly, to round up that domino effect, Stuart Bithell joins Emirates Great Britain as wing trimmer from Germany. Stevie, over to you. What do you think?
Well, you mentioned dominoes. And God, you'd love to know which was the first one. I mean, I can say I genuinely don't know. You can make such a good case for all of them. You know, Ian Jensen going back to a sail with an Australian team, but then, my word, Emirates GBR losing possibly your most valuable piece. Certainly he's in that equation, you know. Absolute superstar, him leaving. But then Chris Draper going back to sail with Nathan Outridge, who, of course, he's loved sailing with so much in the past. And you know, I know Chris, you know, from speaking to him, has had some amazing experiences with Nathan and seems to love the challenge of a new team. And then Stuart Bithell coming into Great Britain. Well, Stuart and Dylan won a gold medal in the Tokyo Olympics. 2020 Olympics happened in 2021, of course. And so all of the moves, it seems almost too good to be true in terms of a natural fit for each other. I genuinely don't know who's moved first. All of them have the opportunity to add value, but all of them come with so much pressure as well on those, you know, big names moving and joining already successful teams.
Yeah, it's almost like the stars aligning, isn't it? With the Stuart and Dylan partnership realigning, the Chris Draper, Nathan Outridge partnership happening, and then obviously Ian Jensen's homecoming to Australia. These are 3 huge things. It's almost the wing trimmers are making their way back to home, it feels like almost.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems like good fits, doesn't it? And I mean, I guess the interesting thing is, of course, I'm sure Tom Slingsby was desperately hoping that he was going to sign the second best wing trimmer in the league and he would have won the championship final, whereas now he's kind of, I suppose it's bittersweet. His signing is the number 1 wing trimmer in the league. You can't help but think that's going to somehow make that team better, which is already a mind-blowingly good team and has been for a long time. But yeah, I think in many ways that's the biggest move, you know, to break up or have already broken up a championship winning team. I mean, it puts a massive amount of pressure on Stuart. And, you know, does it put pressure on Ian Jensen or does it pressure on the Australians where it's like, well, you've gone from having a good team and now you've brought in the number 1 wing trimmer. Surely you're nearly unbeatable now.
Yeah, exactly. The Bonds-Flying Roos, I mean, obviously they've been in every season final and obviously the last couple that they haven't won. So this signing for them will feel massive and monumental. But if we take a moment to get into Ian Jensen's mindset, he's just won the SailGP Championship and he's leaving the team behind that have won it. Do you think that will have an impact on where his mind was at? Would he have known he was leaving in that last final race? What kind of happens in that headspace?
Yeah, I alluded to it a while ago. I think as soon as I suppose we're talking dominoes, get back to your game of dominoes, where one thing knocks over the other and everything cracks on. I think as soon as Artemis announced they were coming in, and you had, you know, one of the big name drivers, Nathan Outridge, coming back, that was going to cause problems, and that was potentially going to cause problems high up the league, you know, in amongst the top teams, because he wasn't going to mess around with who he brought in. So I suspect as soon as that announcement was 100% that Artemis were in and Nathan was driver, Ian Percy is CEO, you know, again, another big name in the sailing world. I suspect things started to happen. So my guess is, Ian Jensen's probably known before that final is how I feel. Maybe most of them. I mean, I guess we'll get to talk to them and find out. But I think for Ian, it's absolutely perfect because
Mm.
you can make a case to say the only way for Emirates GBR is down because they're at the very top.
Yeah.
He's going and joining the Bonds Flying Roos, who have got, Hugh Jackman, they've got this amazing kind of whole Hollywood, Ryan Reynolds, whole Hollywood setup there, and just the Bonds Flying Roos sponsorship in itself, which to an Australian is an iconic kind of brand. And so that's a massive positive for the Bonds Flying Roos going ahead and Tom Slingsby. But also you're joining a team that's come second, won it 3 times. You're hardly kind of putting yourself at the bottom of the pile to build up. You're going with a team that was very leading at Mark 1. Slingsby delivered on that start. So, yeah, I think for Ian Jensen, it's the perfect move. Like, I've won. Thanks for that. On to the next thing. Back to my home nation. Get to, he hasn't represented Australia since the Rio Olympics. He represented Australia and got a gold medal in London and got a silver medal in Rio. So, he's a proud Aussie. He'll like being back there, and he'll enjoy the challenge. And it's going to be interesting to see, what that brings to him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And I think you're right in that he must almost feel that his job's done at Emirates Great Britain. I mean, he's been part of the setup for a while now. He's climbed the ranks. They finally won. And for him now, he can it's almost like when athletes retire and they do it on a high. He can step down from there on a high. He's done his job there. And then anything that happens with the Bonds Flying Roos is a bonus. From that point onwards. One thing that was interesting, though, is I would have put my money on him joining Nathan, who was his partner in the Olympics. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong there, Stevie. But
no, you're right. Yeah,
my knowledge, yeah. So I thought he was going to join Nathan and be his wing trimmer there, but he's taken a bit of a different route. So yeah, it'll be really interesting how it plays out. And maybe he's just a massive Ryan Reynolds fan.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could be that he's always been renowned as a beautiful man. So it could be that he's hoping for now, what did you say, it's easing out of the sailing and he's going to kind of move into that, suave, sophisticated, is that a thing for an Australian? Movie star, well, yeah, shots fired, sorry, Goose. I think interesting, but no, I think on that, but that's where it's interesting, Chris Draper going to Artemis, Chris Draper coming across there. That I think is, to do with Nathan and Chris sail together on other projects. They've got different sort of sailing teams that they work together. It's a chance for them to align and get that time. So perhaps that wasn't an opportunity for Goobs, or perhaps he just is a true blood Australian and he's desperate to sort of have the green and gold on again.
Well, last question from me, Stevie, is with this news and now the stacked lineup for the Bonds Flying Roos, how good do you think this team is? Are they just going to be unbeatable in season 6, or does it not have a huge impact?
I think unbeatable isn't a thing in SailGP because there's too much jeopardy out there. It's hard to look past them in terms of a lineup as that not being the best lineup. We don't really know the Artemis final lineup yet. They're right in there as a thing. And there's a lot of good teams. There's not a lot in it, but I'd happily take everyone on that Australian boat and pick that as a dream team.
Well, we can hear from the man himself. Ian Jensen caught up with Lisa Darmanin to find out where his head is at going into that Bonds Flying Roos position.
Thanks, guys. Well, obviously, very exciting news. We've got Ian Jensen, Goobs, joining the Bonds Flying Roos. Big news, Gooby.
Yeah, big news. I haven't represented Australia for a long time now, and it's always been on the list to get back there and sail for my own country. So felt like the time was right, and excited about what the next year brings.
Yeah, it must be a little bit of a strange feeling. Obviously, you've come straight off the back of a win with Emirates Great Britain, and I guess such a nice way to leave it with them. But how are you feeling a week post becoming the champion?
Yeah, it is a bittersweet moment because we've shared so much in that team, and I've been with them since the second year of SailGP. So it has been a long road, and we've had a few ups and downs along the way, and the team's in the best spot it's been in. Everyone's getting along. The culture's really good, and we come away with a win. But yeah, I'm excited about sailing for my own country again, and I know all the guys on the Australian boat really well, and I'm really good friends with those guys as well, and they've all proven themselves to be champions in this league as well. So I mean, it's a new adventure and it's very exciting, and I can't wait to get going with it.
Yeah, kind of as you said, you spent about 4 years with the British team, which have had different drivers and finishing on a high. But you kind of touched on it a few times already. Obviously, putting on the green and gold is something that you haven't done since the Olympics back in 2016. And then I guess why now? Why is the right time? Is it just you've had your stint with the British and you're ready to fly the Aussie flag again, or is it because the team is obviously so well stacked as well from an Aussie perspective?
Yeah, I guess you just don't know when these opportunities are going to come along, and there was an option to come over now, and I was thinking to myself, if I don't take this opportunity, maybe they get someone, a young Aussie on the wing who'll be there for a long time, and I might not get another opportunity, So if I want to sail for my own country again, I think the opportunity is right now, and you've got to take it. And I've got strong belief with everyone on that team, so I think we're going to be really successful, and I'm looking forward to it.
And I mean, it's been a big. Well, this transfer Thursday is a big transfer of wing trimmers. I guess obviously you've been trimming a wing for a really long time. What's I guess the art of trimming a wing? Why is it such a critical role within the team that so many people are trying to get a new wing trimmer this season?
Well, I think it's just with more teams entering the league, you just have a shortage of experience. That's what it is. I mean, it's obviously you're competing for sailors with the America's Cup, and there's more teams coming into SailGP all the time, and so there's less experienced people, and at some point, someone's going to have to take a punt and go for someone with less experience who probably shows a lot of promise, but it will take a little while for them to get the feel of the thing, and to learn the ropes, I guess. And so that's why the transfer market's so hot at the moment, because everyone's sort of scrambling to make sure they're not the ones who are training up the new talent, that they're the ones that are going to be ready to fire when the season kicks off.
And I guess from your perspective, you've been with SailGP since the beginning as well. Is how cool, I guess, as a racer, as a sailor, is it to be able to, see how much it's grown and to have the level that it's at and race with the top girls and guys in the world?
I think SailGP is a pinnacle at the moment. If you look at the talent that's involved with it, and the fact that it's in a one design class, I don't think there's any other event that comes close in terms of racing against the best people in the world. And you couple that with the fact that we're in some of the coolest boats you'll ever sail, and it's just it's a hell of an opportunity to be involved in such a great league.
I mean, the other cool thing about SailGP is obviously all the data is shared, but with you transferring from the British to the Aussies, I guess, and all the wing trimmers that are transferring, I guess they take a little bit of IP with them, or have you got NDAs? You're not allowed to tell them what you're doing. How's that work? Or is that going to be part of the game? Obviously, like the physical, but also, different strategies, different, I guess, moves around the racetrack.
Yeah, I guess you can't forget all the experiences you've had, and you're obviously going to input into how the boat's sailing. But these guys have been together so long that they'll have a way of doing things. And I guess it's just working out how we blend my experience with their experience, and try to move forward towards the best possible brand of sailing we can have. I imagine definitely when I first join, I'll be very much just trying to learn how they're working, and trying to fit in there as best as I can.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Groups. I'm very excited that you're back home in Aussie colours. I'm really excited for next season already. And also congratulations again on winning the championship last week. What a big week for you.
Thanks, Lisa. No, good to talk to you.
Super interesting there from Ian Stevie. Obviously, some would have thought he may have joined Artemis, as I mentioned earlier, but the person that is joining Artemis is Chris Draper. Is that a surprise to you?
I mean, it's not really a surprise, because I say Nathan and Chris had a really good. They were. If you looked at the racing on the day of the grand final, the day before the grand final, I thought that the Japanese team looked quicker than the Aussies that day. And then we just had, we had a classic. It's never normally like this here. Time in San Francisco. Even San Francisco could not deliver a perfect final on that season 2. And that was the moment gone. But I know that Chris and Nathan, they both sailed 49ers against each other. They've got that mutual respect and understanding. And Chris, slots in really well. I mean, this team, when you see that, Nathan and Julia had a little bit of experience with the Italian team. She's kind of come again from a skiff background. Nathan's gone from a high performance boat background. So Chris is a natural, calm sort of experience fit there. Julius is a monster on the grinding handles. So that means Chris, in terms of a wing trim, those grinders are the ones that mean that the wing trimmer can do all he needs or not. And Chris has got that there. And then Brad brought in as the grinder. I thought Brad was a good sort of hire there, because he's solid as a G2, good trimmer, good experience, and he'll bring that sort of team unity to it. Because I think the hardest challenge for this Artemis team is them finding each other and then trying to kind of get into it, and then right in the middle of the screen, flight controller. I mean, I haven't seen anything yet. Where's Andy Maloney? Would he fit in? I mean, would he fit into that? We don't know that, but I know that Nathan sailed with Andy. I know that Andy wasn't sailing on Brazil in Abu Dhabi, but I don't know where he is. I mean, maybe he's not, but he was one of the big moves last season. And I just think, where last season we had Carl Langford, Andy Maloney as the 2 big moves. In fact, we've already heard, of Ian Jensen, championship wing trimmer, leaving and heading out, and Draper in here, who could have very easily been championship wing trimmer as well this year. The Aussies, as I say, they were leading that grand final. But Chris seems a natural fit to me. He's got a lot of experience. Light wind. I mean, him and Nathan in the lighter wind end of the spectrum is a dangerous pairing, because both of them are real light wind specialists. When you had Tom, who's a heavy air specialist, and Chris as a light air specialist, they kind of, maybe balanced each other out. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see now the Aussies becoming really, really hard to beat when it's windy. Yeah, and if it's light winds, I'd have my eyes on this team.
Yeah, I know. Based on just jumping off what you said there, that Tom Slingsby and the Roos were trying to become a more well-rounded team, and obviously Chris was a key part of that in the lighter air, because they're traditionally known for their sort of strong wind prowess. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this team goes, particularly in the early part of the season, when perhaps they don't have that team cohesion that you need in SailGP. But they obviously, as you've mentioned, season 2, Nathan, Chris Draper on that Japanese boat together. How important is that relationship when you're going into your first few events as a new team?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, I think the interesting thing, and where I think Nathan's sort of strength will be in terms of forming the team, is I probably shouldn't say this too loud because I'll lose my job, but he basically commentates his way around the race course. You listen on board, and his ability to sort of look ahead and paint the picture for his crew is fairly unprecedented, really. When you listen on board to the teams, I think that's where Nathan will, and that'll just allow them all to get on the same page. But with all these things, it's you say potato, I say potato, you say tomato, I say tomato. There's a lot of brilliant sailors. All the ingredients are there. I don't know if you're. It's not going to go well with international listeners, but you'll be no doubt a great British Bake Off fan. They've got the ingredients, but can they mix a good cake? And I think the thing with Nathan is he will be very good at verbalizing, how they make that mix and what's coming next, and everyone being on the same page. So, yeah, Artemis has got the potential to be strong, but Chris is a good fit, and the fact that him and Nathan have sailed together a lot is absolutely, a key move by that Artemis team.
So what you're saying is basically, could Nathan Outridge be the Mary Berry of SailGP?
I think that's what we're getting to, yes.
Well, you yourself, Stevie, caught up with Chris Draper to hear about the move to Artemis. Shall we cut to that now?
Seems a good place to go.
Well, yeah, great chance to catch up with Chris Draper. Still out in Abu Dhabi, I believe, Chris, because you're one of the bigger names in this transfer move. I can see a new shirt, and I can confirm now you're joining Artemis as the wing trimmer. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct, mate. Yeah, I'm just literally stepped off the boat about 15 minutes ago, so still very salty and crusty. Excuse sun cream everywhere, etc. But yeah, very exciting times and an exciting year ahead.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously, about a year ago, we were in Barcelona and you were saying, I don't know if I should take the job with Australia. And I mean, that seemed to go maybe not better than you could have dreamed, but you've had an amazing year with them, haven't you?
Yeah, I have had an incredible season with the Aussies, and I've been super grateful for that opportunity. I guess it's sort of, yeah, like you say, Stevie, I had pretty much was quite feeling quite comfortable about moving into coaching. I really had made the decision I wanted to stay at the absolute elite level of the sport, and not necessarily do owner driver sailing and things like that, which is an option for professionals in our sport. So I'd switched to the coaching, but then got asked by Tommy to join the Aussie team, and I'm denied about it, if I'm honest, for quite a while. I remember discussing it with you quite a bit, and yeah, it was a great decision, and it's produced an enormous amount of opportunities for me, including this one ahead next season.
Yeah. And you obviously sailed with Nathan before, so was that the lure? I mean, to leave basically the Bonds Flying Roos, were you pushed, or was that kind of an easy transition into Nathan and the Artemis team?
Well, I knew Nathan was going to start the Artemis team or be a part of that, and I had, like you say, I sailed with Nathan in season 2 with Japan, and we won a number of events. We're very close to winning the final, really, and we're one of the top teams during that season. And I absolutely loved sailing with Nathan. It was a privilege, and one of those moments that was a real light bulb moment of this is really is racing at the highest level. So the opportunity to sail with him again is enormous, and a massive draw for me. I will miss the Aussies a lot. I had a great time with them, and I loved sailing with that. Every member of that team was just incredible. But I think what we're building here with Artemis for the next season is really exciting as well.
And then slightly different, obviously, congratulations, and that's fantastic. But you're moving, across the team, and then the Gooby's going across. Ian Jensen's moving across to take your role with Australia. We're led to believe. I think we're going to find out a bit more about that today. But are there many youngsters, newcomers coming in? Like, how hard is that transition for new people as the league grows? And with the best will in the world, you and I are getting a little bit older, aren't we? And probably can't keep doing this forever. How hard is it to actually learn this role on the boat, and then for newcomers to come in?
Yeah, you're right, and I am the oldest person in the league, and I'm well aware of that. But I like to think that the fitter as long as I stay at the highest level of fitness I can, then from my personal point of view, my experience can be an asset. But that said, there's definitely youngsters stepping in, and there are some really talented individuals that are coming into it, and that's a big part of being with Artemis, trying to get some of the Swedish sailors upskilled and up to the level to take over and sort of, I guess, in some ways age out. But in the short term, I'm focused on performance. But I think across the teams, we are seeing some new people coming into roles on the boats. I think where some people are moving around teams, you're seeing some people stepping into different roles that they haven't done before. And then I think there's a few teams that have had new people come in. The other thing that's been brought in with SailGP is like a licensing thing, where it's almost like a rally car or F1 license, where you have to up your hours and to be able to sail the boat. I think there's been a number of incidents over the last couple of years where people have come in just starting to sail the boats, and with the wings, etc., towing out at foiling speeds in coal regs channels and things like that, there's quite a lot going on, and you really do need to understand how you maneuver the boats, not just around the race course but also just in a seamanship manner. So that licensing is very much about helping people to upskill on that front, but what it is going to do is provide a pathway for those youngsters and new talent to come on board into the SailGP teams over the next years.
Fremantle's going to be quite the introduction to the big fleet racing for Nathan coming back to that. But I'm really excited, really happy for you, and best of luck next season.
Thanks very much, mate. It's going to be a great year ahead, and yeah, like you say, Perth is going to be an incredible event.
Well, Stevie, Chris seems very excited to be out there with Nathan and the Artemis team, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's a frother, Chris. He loves his sailing, and I guess, as he alluded to, he's been doing it a while, and he's very much enjoying the opportunity. And it's funny, I mentioned to him there, we genuinely did have that conversation. Do you want to stay in a rib and be a coach, or do you want to actually get a chance to get back sailing? And I think the words I used to him were, you're a long time retired. And I guess that, obviously sit in the commentary booth now, not even in the coaching booth. So what an opportunity for him. And I think that's why you see that excitement. And I think the interesting thing for me was there, you could tell he believes they can do things, This Artemis team's not just there to make the course a bit busier. It's there to, try and lead the fleet around the course. So I definitely heard that little bit of excitement in his voice and that bit of belief as to, we're here, we're the real deal.
Yeah, well, he was fresh off of testing the F50s in Abu Dhabi, and he seemed to think that they were already at a level after 45 minutes that was really impressive. So it's going to be very exciting to see where they're at going into Perth at the beginning of season 6. What do you think is the priority for them? Do they go all out to try and make a point, or are they just going to sail their race and try to get through Perth unscathed?
I think they'll want to come in with and announce themselves. I think funnily enough, the challenge they will have will be Nathan's not done a lot of racing in a big fleet for a while. So, Nathan's going to be fast. And as he said, they were sailing the boat very nicely in training. But there's no one around. There's no one kind of getting in your way and affecting what you want to do. So there's going to be an awful lot on how well they can stay ahead of the race course and not getting rushed into sudden manoeuvres where they won't quite be good enough. I think there's a little bit on, can Nathan get sharp quickly, which my guess is he probably can. I think he might struggle a bit with the starting initially to get back used to that dynamic of starting. But yeah, they're going to want to, the realist in me says they just want a solid result and they'll be able to, spin that just fine. But there's, in my mind, there is absolutely no doubt they, if not expect, they think they've got a very, very good chance that they'll be in the grand final at the end of next year.
Well, we'll see how the year pans out. There's a long way to go from Perth all the way through to the grand final next year. But let's talk about the last domino to fall. Stuart Bithell from Germany to Emirates Great Britain. He's going to join us for an interview. Welcome, Stu. Well, we've got Stuart here. Stuart, how are you feeling about this move? Moving from Team Germany by Deutsche Bank to Emirates Great Britain, the current 2025 season champions.
Yes, super exciting. Super happy to be going home, putting the Union Jack back on my chest, and some big shoes to fill, as you well know. Not only champions now, but Goob's a very, very good character on that boat, so big boots to fill, but excited to have a go at doing that.
And Stu, sorry Alex to butt in, but I was thinking, I wanted to first know, the whole season Germany, Deutsche Bank, you seem to be struggling. So you had a meeting in August, and all we've ever heard is a meeting. What did you manage to get happening? How do you turn a team around like you did? Because last half of the season, you were basically pretty much should have been in the top 3 overall if you'd sailed like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that meeting I think did get a bit of media action around it. But I think, to be honest, we kind of, if you think about the starting, the handling and the boat speed and the handling had been kind of getting better from the day we started going, and the starting had been a bit of a sticky point for us. And I think the last half of this season, that was just starting to click with the team, and particularly Eric. He was doing a real super job in this last part of the season. And then, the rest of the team skills has been allowing us to finish some good races and good regattas.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, the turnaround point seemed to be that home race in Sassnitz for you guys, and then obviously the win in Geneva as well. What have you learned from your time with Germany that you can potentially take to Emirates Great Britain in the wing trimming department?
In the wing trimming department, I mean, it's it's a good question. I'm kind of hoping they're going to teach me a thing or two as well.
I'm sure they will.
No, I think these boats, the F50s, they really reward everyone on the boat understanding everything about everyone's role on the boat. We talk about the speed, like that's not just the wing trimmer's responsibility. Everyone's involved, the jib trimmer, the helmsman, the flight controller particularly. So I think what we learned with the Germans is I'm going to need to go into that new group of people and get used to the other people. They're going to have to get used to me, and and hopefully do that as quick as we can, basically. But yeah, there'll be some. I don't want to say teething issues, but it will take a bit of time, I'd say.
One of the shortcuts you got on that, though, of course, you and Dylan won a gold medal together. And so you've got a natural relationship there. It's interesting you say, you have to work as a team. Of course, you're pretty lucky and you can go into the Oracle Cloud. You can look at how the British were sailing, or the Aussies, if you thought they were good on a day, or I'm sure teams were looking at what you were up to on the German boat, second half of the season, maybe not the beginning of the season.
The first half of the season for other reasons.
But I think, do you see similarities in your style to Ian Jensen, or are we gonna sort of expect a different Emirates GBR in terms of how you approach your sailing?
Nah, from what I've seen and what I've known of Goobs over the years, I actually think we're very similar characters. I want to say we're solid. We're good under pressure. We're not particularly after the limelight. We just get in and get our job done as best we can. And Goobs was very, very good at that. And yeah, like you say, I've got a really good relationship with Dylan. We've got heaps of knowledge together and I'm pretty sure that'll, kick off quite naturally straight away. And actually, Hannah, I know Hannah very well, but I've never raced with her, so I know I know her personality really well. In fact, we do more racket sports than we've against each other than we have sailing. But
both of them are annoyingly good, Alex, as well. If he says, "Do you want a game of table tennis?" Do not play him at table tennis. Yes, dodgy. Him and Hannah for sure.
Yeah. I know what our next video segment is.
Yeah,
Stuart at table tennis. Well, you mentioned pressure there, Stu, and obviously, I'm not sure when this sort of move was agreed, but has Emirates Great Britain winning the league made it more pressure for you at joining the team, or has it just made your move that bit sweeter that you're going into a championship team?
I think internally it's probably not changed anything, certainly for me, that the fact they won the league, but as in there is a bit of pressure on me. I know I'm stepping into a top end team, if we could call them that. And I've always felt a little bit of like, I need to go and do a good job here because the cameras are going to pretty quickly point at me if they don't do a good job, naturally. So, yeah, for sure there's a little bit of pressure, but I don't think them winning, that's always been there. I don't think winning has made any difference, but I wonder if it'd be interesting to see how the whole team delivers now with that extra pressure of being the champions. I think that'll be a group kind of pressure, but I'm very confident under the watchful eye of Sir Ben Ainsley we'll be managing that problem well together.
For sure, and obviously we've been discussing in this video with myself and Stevie about all the moves within the league, and it seems to be all wing trimmers moving in the Transfer Thursday segment. Why do you think that the wing trimmers are in such demand across the league?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a domino effect, right? That's been going on. It's almost everyone's moved around to the right one boat, but yeah, it's interesting actually because I think Russell's nation versus nation mindset early on in the league was a really good one. I liked that, and it feels like I've gone back to the UK, to the British team. Goobs has gone back to the Australian team, and I think there's something quite natural and nice about that. But yeah,
we won't talk about Artemis.
Yeah, Artemis. Yeah, yeah.
Chris has got very blue eyes. He's definitely
got very blue eyes. Yeah, blonde hair. Yeah, you never know. Yeah, but I think I mean it is, it is quite a skilled job. I'm not trying to boast about the role, but it is it's a very skilled job, and it's hard to get time on the boats, as we all know. And, there are simulators, but it's never quite the same as doing it in real life. So I think the experience that the guys that have done the wing trimming role before is very useful to have. And actually, I'd say it's hard for newbies trying to get their foot in the door with that stuff. But I'm sure there'll be a route very shortly where it will be much more manageable. And it'll need to be because the league's growing. So there needs to be more sailors involved.
So obviously this deal had to take place. I'm guessing it wasn't maybe Dylan. Was it Dylan that came to you, or was it Ben? Was it Sir Ben that came and hunted you out? And then how did that conversation go? Was that you saying, "Oh, thank you, Ben, thank you," or were you able to actually do a bit of a bargain with him?
No, it was the first message on my phone that cropped up was Dylan.
Okay.
And he was sent out to see what my deal was with the Germans. But that very quickly went into a scenario of Big Ben wants to speak to you. I was like, okay. Copy that. This sounds exciting. So yeah, it was pretty soon I was on the phone to Ben and having a good chat about things, and yeah, he sounded super keen to get me involved, and obviously I was too, so there we go.
Is he a tough negotiator, Sir Ben?
They're all tough negotiators, aren't they?
No one tougher than Stuart, though. You wouldn't want to do a deal with Stuart, I can assure you that.
I'm a man from the north of England. There's no one tighter than me. So.
Well, that feels like a good place to leave you, Stu. We'll let you crack on and get your preparations going for Perth. Good luck with Emirates Great Britain this year.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Another man who's very excited to be making that move, Stevie, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I mean, what a chance! I think Stuart. I've been lucky enough. We both competed in the London 2020 Olympics in the same Team GB, and then I was a coach and he was racing in Tokyo when he got his gold. So I spent a lot of time with Stuart, and he is, as he said in there, solid, and that's really underestimating quite what a phenomenal team player he is. Forget the sailing talent in terms of as a hub in the team and a central point, which I think the wing trimmer has to be. You've got to be quite a big character and keep everyone on track because you've got that vision, and he'll bring that. But yeah, don't underestimate that. I think of all the swaps, he's got the most pressure on him. You're joining the defending champions at the start of the season. I mean, I don't envy him that. We didn't ask him because it was probably a bit cheeky, but I wondered if he was really sporting for Emirates GBR in that final, whether he would have preferred to go into the team that had come second or third. I don't know. I'm sure, of course, he wanted his mates on the British boat to win. But yeah, a lot of pressure on Stu. But if anyone can, has got the shoulders to deal with it, then it's him. So wish him all the best.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of eyes on that Emirates Great Britain team, particularly in Perth, the first event of season 6. How do you think you approach that? From his mindset, is he going to go in and immediately try to make his impact on the team? He's clearly got some learnings from that Germany team that he's going to bring to Emirates Great Britain. Does he go in, or does he just feel things out and get an understanding of the relationships and the dynamic first, and then later on in the season make his mark?
Do you know, I'd imagine he's already working a little bit with the coach, Robbie Wilson. I think when you're listening on board the teams, they have very it's incredibly systematic, the playbooks they have and how well they communicate, who speaks when, where, who's got what role, where and when, and how you do that. Now, Stuart can't just come in and start throwing her out. He's got to learn the language. All right. And okay. Yeah, good one. English. I get that. But he there's specific words for specific roles. They've got a playbook. So, you hear on the broadcast, you hear people say eagle, or you hear them say JK, or you hear all these different maneuvers that they call. They're just specific complex maneuvers that they manage to get into one word. So, that one word, JK will mean 3 or 4 or 5 different things for Stuart that are out of the ordinary in a normal maneuver. So he's got to learn that playbook. He's got to understand the comms and see where he fits in. Now, I think that's the role of the coach, Robbie Wilson, to sort of be bringing him up to speed on that already. And I think for Stuart, it'll be try and seamlessly fit in, make sure you've kind of everyone's on that same page and we can sail the boat okay. And then I'll ease myself in. And I think this is where Stuart's super strength is. He will work out where he can add something. Because again, Ian Jensen's brilliant, but he won't be perfect. Stuart's brilliant. He won't be perfect, but Stuart will be able to bring some things. He can't try and be Ian Jensen, but he's got some super strengths that Ian hasn't, but he'll need to find where they are. So yeah, very long answer to a simple question.
No, that's a great answer. It's going to be a very busy month for Stu, and also hopefully his racket sport experience with Hannah will pay dividends. He's got that Dylan relationship. He's got table tennis with Hannah Mills. Who knows? So the last kind of domino if we're talking dominoes, again, as has been the theme for this video, we're getting word that filling Stu's place with Team Germany is Kevin Peponnet, who's going to move across from France. And that's just been confirmed by by Deutsche Bank SailGP team. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you say the last. We've now got to work out if domino goes into France, haven't we? I guess, but but yes, I think Kevin's got. Kevin's done a great job with that French team. They very nearly made it to the final, and an interesting move by the French. It'd be interesting who they bring in. I think for Germany, losing Stuart will have been a blow. As I say, they're starting to find that form. But again, when you're listening on board, Stuart was very much the hub, the middle, the link pin, if you like, in that team. So yeah, I think kind of a big deal for Kevin to have to go across and try and fill in there. But he's got the persona, he's got the experience. And as Stuart alluded to, there's not that many people in SailGP with the experience. I'm surprised he's gone from the French. I'd love to know what's going on there, but I guess we're not going to find that out today. And yeah, I mean the dominoes keep moving on, but a solid signing by the Germans. I think they'll be a bit gutted to have lost Stuart. Not that Kevin's not a phenomenal wing trimmer and all the rest of it. I just think it might be hard as a French speaker to come into that German team that speaks English as a rule and have the same kind of big calming influence that Stuart can. Language is huge in these teams. And you hear it when a team has to compromise. The French made a big jump by having a French-speaking boat when they had some English people in there at times before. So language is huge. It'll be interesting how Kevin, how his English skills are. I know his sailing skills and his wing trimming skills are phenomenal, but is his English good enough to keep up and stay ahead of it? But it's just good action, isn't it?
Yeah, and Stu is northern, so it might just balance out.
Well, yes, yeah, it is. Fortunately, Dylan and Stuart have got enough time on tools together to be hopefully across that.
Okay, so if we take all of these moves that we've discussed today and rank them 1 to 3 out of those 3 headlines, Stevie, who are you going for? Who's made the strongest move?
Oh, mate, that's a question, isn't it? Do you know, I genuinely think they've all made good moves. I might rank them slightly differently. Most pressure is on Stuart Bithell, you know? So I think, and actually, all right, let's maybe say that's perhaps number 3 for GB. I don't think that's fair on Stuart because I think he's not been with an A-list team to see how good he is. Season 6, we're going to find out, we're going to find out how good Stuart is and as the season goes on. And, I know he's got the talent, but can he deliver it at this level in this specific skill set? So let's say number 3 to Stuart, but that's really no slight on Stu. I just think he hasn't shown us. And then the next 2 is really interesting because I think I'd go 2 with Chris because you're taking the champion, aren't you? For Australia, and they're taking the champion wing trimmer, going back to his home country. He's absolutely rock solid emotionally, which I think is a great fit for Tom Slingsby. Chris is a little bit more fiery. And so I think but that's why I think they're a perfect match. Ian maybe will be able to sort of help Tom with that kind of composure side. Tom's the absolute best when he's firing, but when he's firing up, he can get a bit off topic. And then I think when you look at Nathan and Chris, they're a good match because Nathan can, is often, so calm, he's horizontal. And I think Chris can kind of get that tempo into him. But the reason I hesitate is because if Artemis can put it together and we look ahead to a grand final, now this is very, very presumptuous. We've only just had one. So, it's a little bit me getting out of it, but it's back in Abu Dhabi. We had a phenomenal final, but it wasn't windy. It was light, wasn't it? It was just foiling. In many ways, it was the perfect conditions for a final because there was so much jeopardy on the manoeuvres and how well you could execute. Chris and Nathan together in a light wind setting is a very, very strong team. And we wait to find out who the flight controller is as well. I mean, so we'll see. I'm going to go Chris 2, Ian Jensen 1, because you can't not say that signing the champion wing trimmer is not the biggest role. But wow, I think Nathan, Chris, light winds potentially, they're going to be an interesting mix.
Big call. Well, looking at today's chat, Stevie, we should have done it yesterday and done Wing Trimmer Wednesday.
Yes.
rather than Transfer Thursday. But either way, there's a lot to digest from today's chat. Big moves from many teams, all getting themselves into the best position that they can for Season 6 in 2026. With Oracle Perth SailGP in just 1 month's time. Stay tuned for all the team developments, all the news as they happen here at SailGP. Thank you to Stevie for your infinite wisdom as always. Thank you to Stuart, and also thank you to you at home.